All right, good evening, everybody. We'll let a few folks get in here on the stream this evening before I actually get into the ranting and raving. Happy Tuesday. I'm John Phillips, Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. Well, I hope you are having a good Tuesday. Been a busy 2 days for me here at home. Going to be busy again tomorrow morning. My day starts at 5 a.m. Going to put some people to work in the Strip District, which is always nice, as the weather, I think, is finally broken here for us. I'm crossing my fingers that the snow continues to melt away, and by Friday, there'll be no white stuff left over from the madness of a few weeks ago. And I guess I want to start this evening off by talking a little bit about Robert Duvall. Rest in peace, one of the greatest American actors of all time. And I know we talk sports, but I'm going to tie a little bit into that here in just a moment. Obviously he passed away last night. The Reverend Jesse Jackson passed away. They say it comes in threes, but Robert Duvall passed away yesterday, and at the age of 95. And I can tell you right now, my first introduction to Robert Duvall was at the tender age of about 9. I don't know if I was 9 or 10 exactly, but he was, of course, Colonel Kilgore in Apocalypse Now. And, when I saw the news break late last night, I don't forget what time it was. I was, probably in bed, not sleeping very well, as it tends to be for me. And I thought back to when I was just a little kid. And I had a neighbor who was a little bit older than me, and his father was definitely a rabble rouser, if you will. Convinced my mother to go with him, convinced my mother to take me to a movie one day with his son. Hey, happy birthday, Mean Green. I hope you had a good time at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's awesome. I was told, my mother was told, hey, I'm going to take your son to a movie with my kid. We're going to go see this movie. He'll have a good time. No problem. This is like 79 or 80. And the movie turned out to be Apocalypse Now. And so here I am at like 9 or 10 years old watching this movie. Right. And it was an assault on your 9-year-old brain, 9 or 10-year-old brain. Right. A little bit of nudity wasn't so bad, but I mean, the noise, the lights, just the subject matter of Vietnam was big. Right. Because this is like 1979, 1980. And, my father had fought in Vietnam, but we didn't really talk much about it. And, Vietnam had only been a few years ago, right? That at that era of time in America, hell, the decade hadn't quite come to an end. I think Apocalypse Now was 1979. It was 1979. So here we are. I'm 9 years old. I'm in this movie theater. and I'm getting just bombarded by all of this stuff. And I remember vividly this Colonel Kilgore. And in honor of Robert Duvall's passing, I wanted to play something that stood out to me even as a kid. This character, right? And obviously, Colonel Kurtz was big, and there was a number of moments in that film that were just like overpowering to me as a child. But I'll never forget this one particular scene, and I'm going to share it with you now in honor of the passing of Robert Duvall, one of the great American actors of all time. This moment here, which still stands with me as an individual, as an adult now at 56. Charlie, don't surf. I'll never forget it as a kid. Never forget that as a kid. Rest in peace, Robert Duvall. Great American actor. A little sports twist, if you will. I remember my father talking about being in California after he had been to boot camp in the 50s. They went out to Oklahoma. They trained, and then they went to California, and then eventually he was deployed out to, this is back in the mid-50s. This was post-Korea. He was deployed to Okinawa. He was deployed to Korea, and he did 2 tours of Vietnam. And I remember my dad talking about the surf lifestyle out there back in the 50s and, seeing the kids that, would go out and surf. But I remember that vividly still to this day. And when I saw the news last night, I thought tonight I would lead the show off with a little homage to Robert Duvall with a little sports twist, if you will, right? Because the character himself was obsessed with surfing. One of the members of his platoon was a famous surfer, right? If you remember the film Apocalypse Now, such a great movie, obviously. And again, saw it at 9. When my mother found out that I had seen this movie, she walked like 2 blocks up to the neighbor's father and just gave him the business, and he kind of laughed about it. But and I remember years later, as we got older, to kind of talking a little bit about it. He's since passed away, but it was quite an experience as a child. Did you ever see The Apostle with Robert Duvall? He was a traveling preacher. Adam, good to hear from you this evening. I did not. Something I might want to try to check out here in the not too distant future. He was, of course, famous for Lonesome Dove and a whole of the Godfather trilogies, of course. Which wasn't Armageddon. It was a Deep Impact. He was a Deep Impact. He was in a bunch of films, obviously. The great Robert Duvall, dead at the age of 95. A little bit of a twist in terms of sports, if you will, from the Colonel Kilgore. And I thought that would be a nice way to kind of start the show this evening. As I alluded to on X, Days of Thunder. Yes, that's another good one, Adam. He was, of course, in Days of Thunder as well. And, of course, the stock car movie that Tom Cruise was in, kind of capturing the craze of NASCAR back in the early mid-90s as NASCAR was on the rise. But yeah, he was in that film as well. But the one that really just kind of stuck out with me was the one regarding Apocalypse Now, because again, as a kid, it just blew me away. And I saw boobies too, which was, it's never a bad thing, even at 56. But that was kind of the first time I had ever seen, especially in a movie theater. I was like, oh, there's that scene where they're having some sort of like rock concert. There's the Playboy. It was the Playboy Playmates. They were in Vietnam entertaining the guys, and a couple of them showed their boobs. Yeah, that was big for a 9-year-old. Big for a 9-year-old for sure. And even at this day and age, I mean, who's going to say no to that? But I just thought I'd kind of kick the show off with a little homage to Robert Duvall. I thought that was something that would be nice to kind of start off with. And again, something personal, as a personal experience as a child a long time ago. Maybe it explains why I've turned out the way I have. I mentioned earlier on X, this is kind of like a dead zone for sports, right? It's kind of like there are a couple of points in the calendar during the year where you are just kind of in this utter lull when it comes to sports. And right now, you had the NBA All-Star Game. NHL is on break because of the Winter Olympics, right? And, college basketball is starting to kind of heat up. The tournaments for the conferences will begin probably in the next 10 days. And that'll take us into mid-March when we get to the NCAA tournament. But with the NHL off right now, and the NBA just kind of at a standstill until they get their, season back up and running here in the next few days, I'm here to tell you this is just a deadville in terms of news. I was scraping along online today, and I saw a couple stories and I won't mention names, but somebody from one of the centric websites was rehashing this reporter said something, and it was such a non-story. It just was something to kind of fill a little space online, and it was just saying, hey, this reporter said the Steelers really want Aaron Rodgers to come back. I'm like, yeah, no bull. Of course they want Aaron Rodgers to come back. They have no other option. I know people are intrigued with Malik Willis, but I mean, the reality of it is, what are you going to pay a Malik Willis? He's probably going to get $20 million a year. If he gets a short-term deal, he's going to get 15, 20 million minimum, right? You got what you got out of Rodgers, and it was really the best you've had in 3 seasons. Of course the Steelers want him back. Now that Mike McCarthy is here, it's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. I think Rodgers is up for it. I think, he's trying to work himself through the end of his season, wherever he's at, relaxing and just getting his mind, through what happened 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago. I'm sure he's past all of that at this point. I think Aaron Rodgers has already made up his mind. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's the gospel, but I would think that at this stage in his career, he's probably made up his mind. He's probably made up his mind in terms of next year. I think it's either Steelers or nothing. And if he can make another $20 million at the back end of his career, right, with incentives and whatnot, if he gets guaranteed 12, 13 million with another 5 or 6 million in incentives, if he can make close to 20 million at 42, going to be 43 in December, he's going to take that shot. He's going to take that shot. And the Steelers want him. The Steelers need Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately. They have no other option right now. Will Howard is not an answer. Ty Simpson is not an answer if he's available at 21. There are no options. I don't think Malik Willis, although he's intriguing, I don't think that whatever money he's going to command, the Steelers are going to want to pay. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out in the next 3 weeks. We'll find out before March 11th is what I'm saying, right? As I kind of laid it out yesterday, he will have a decision made if he hasn't already. And, we'll get an announcement before they get into free agency. Armageddon was a great movie starring Bruce Willis as Harry Stamper. There was Deep Impact and there was Armageddon. They kind of came out around the same time, if memory serves me correct, but similar premises. A giant meteor is coming towards the earth and a bunch of crazy people go up and try to stop it. Or at least in Armageddon, that was the case. I think in Deep Impact, they sent a bunch of missiles up there to try to blow the comet into pieces. I think that was the premise of that particular story. So anyhow, I all of a sudden I become Siskel and Ebert here. Sorry, don't want to do that. Okay, I guess we're up on our Facebook page. Well, that's a good thing. But we are on our X page and we are on our YouTube channel as well, wherever you might be this evening. Thanks for checking us out. Pittsburgh Sports Tonight on a Tuesday. Totally dead in terms of stories. Totally dead in terms of stories. And again, I don't think there's enough of an audience to talk about college basketball. So, I as I kind of teased earlier in some, reel I put out, I'm going to kind of jump on a couple of these non-centric sports related stories that are kind of like, I'm in this weird place right now in my life where I have no filter. And this story that came out of Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where a man who thinks he's a woman killed his wife and his children. Just an awful, awful story up in Pawtucket. I'm at this point where I think, we've completely lost our minds as a society. We have completely gone off the deep end. And that story is definitely kind of dominating the news here in the last few days. If you're in Rhode Island, they've already silenced that story, unfortunately. And as somebody who has worked in the media for the better part, off and on for 3+ decades. As somebody who was in a newsroom during 9/11, as a television newsroom in Pittsburgh during 9/11, as somebody who was in a television newsroom during the Bill Clinton impeachment trials, as somebody that was in a newsroom when Donald Trump was making his first announcement to run for president of the United States in 2015, I've seen the back end of things and how they work. And it's very it's very disillusioned. You're very disillusioned at times, especially when you want to talk about journalistic integrity and telling the story and getting it right, and presenting both sides. We don't see that much anymore. And that's definitely. And again, I'm not trying to get too political here, but I don't really seem to care at this point in time. This is a tragedy up here in Rhode Island, an absolute tragedy, and the kids were really the wife and the children didn't deserve to die. And who knows if we'll get any of this story at the end of the day. I mean, obviously the man was disturbed beyond all things, but society wants to be polite to everyone instead of attacking the core of problems. And I guess they were saying make asylums great again, but that hurts feelings. Mean Green says Team USA men's and women's hockey are doing well at the Olympics. Reminds me of the 1980 men's hockey team and Herb Brooks. I don't know if I would go that far, Mean Green. It's going to be USA versus Canada in this particular case. Of course, Russia is not participating in these Winter Olympics. Russia gets yet another ban from the International Olympics community. They have been forced out of the Olympics this year. It's all just too silly for me at this point. I think Norway is leading in the medal standings. I guess, I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm not really paying attention to much of the hockey, right? And again, it'll be USA, Canada, men and women most likely. I think the the American women won today convincingly. I think it was 5-0 in their semifinal game. So they're on their way to the gold medal. The men are starting their postseason. They went through the preliminary rounds, and now the medal round is about to begin. It'll be USA versus Canada in both of those. It doesn't excite me too much. It's not that competitive. And when you take Russia out of it, and Russia has a bit of power in hockey since the Soviet Union, all right, well, let's not kid ourselves. But if the Russian Federation were allowed to play, they'd probably be able to field a pretty decent team. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, they were highly competitive, right? They were highly competitive. Sergei Fedorov, amongst others, made the Russian Federation very, very competitive when it came to the Winter Olympics. But they've been banned from this year's participation for political reasons. I always like to think that the athletes should be left out of this, but, there are far greater powers at work behind the scenes. Pay no attention to the man behind the green curtain. Okay. Any topics? If you want to discuss something, you can. We're open to pretty much anything at this point in time. I mentioned yesterday, I wanted to talk a little bit about Jeff Capel a little bit further. Pitt athletics is just a complete and utter disaster right now. The football team did not have a particularly good season. I mean, they were 8 wins, nothing really spectacular. Obviously the bowl loss, the military bowl loss to East Carolina was embarrassing. Now you've got Jeff Capel, who's in his 7th year of running the basketball program. I don't want to say he's driven it into the ground. I just think that there are external elements that obviously are not helping Pitt when it comes to competing in what is a premier basketball conference in college athletics. The Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC, the SEC, top tier basketball conferences, obviously perennial powers in Duke, North Carolina, NC State's having a good year as well. Of course, they won a national title in 1983 under Jimmy Valvano. But Pitt is just in this really weird spot right now. And Alan Green, who is the athletic director, and I think he's been on the job for almost 2 years now, he is in this spot where I don't know what he's going to do with not just Capel. Obviously, the football coach is coming back. We'll talk about the tarps here in a few moments. What Pitt announced recently, they're going to put tarps over the top of Acrisure Stadium and bring the seating capacity down smaller. We'll discuss that here in a few moments. And I'll get into Pat Narduzzi as well. But I wanted to start because it's basketball season. Pitt's not even going to make the ACC tournament. Pitt's not even going to make the ACC tournament. The ACC is only taking 15 teams this year, which I thought was odd. I think they have, 18 or 19 teams. I don't see why they can't create a bracket where everybody gets a chance to play, but they're not. And Pitt's 17th right now. I don't see them winning many, if any, games. I think their next game is Saturday at home against Notre Dame. And I think they only have 2 conference wins as it is right now. Alan Green is in a weird position right now with both of his major marquee programs, men's basketball and, of course, the football program, that are just stuck in this rudderless ship, each of them. The basketball is a hard one. It takes a lot to take a program like Pitt, which, look, again, under Jamie Dixon 15 years ago, and, I think it was Kevin Stallings prior to that, had, put this team in a better position. Like the program was churning along pretty good, and they won some Big East championships, and then they moved to the ACC. They got into the ACC tournament. They were competitive, to say the least. They ended up winning a number 1 seed. They were top seeds for a few periods of time in there as well. But they didn't go far. I think the one year they ended up as a number 1 seed. They lost in the second round. I think that was 2011. It was what it was. Trail Guide Steve says, found out 4 of the gals on the hockey team came out to Penn's elite program in Cranberry. All right, excellent. That's good. I did not know that, Steve. Thank you very much for that. That's, of course, the Penguins facility, I do believe, what he's talking about. But as it is, the program has just kind of fallen apart. The Peterson Event Center used to be a hostile ground for opposing teams to come into, and the Oakland Zoo was formidable. As formidable as the Cameron Crazies and anything you'd get in, Chapel Hill or Allen Fieldhouse in Kentucky and Lawrence, Kansas. Name some of the great barns that college basketball, still has. Pauley Pavilion. I don't think UCLA plays at Pauley anymore. I might be wrong about that, but that was that in and of itself was a tough road to hoe if you were coming into Pittsburgh to play the Panthers. But that has all disappeared especially under Jeff Capel. I don't know how Alan Green continues to keep him as head coach. I know he's got 3 or 4 years left on his buyout. I think the university has to step up. And if Pat Narduzzi doesn't produce a 10-win season, a 9 or 10-win season, and a bowl win of some kind, it might be time for Pat to go too. The one thing I will say about college athletics, when a new AD takes over, their first rule of business is to generate revenue, right? ADs are revenue generators, first and foremost. It wasn't always like that. But the fact is that after that, if you're an athletic director, And they pay the kids, a considerable amount of money. Steve, good question. So, for example, Steve, Texas Tech this year had the third highest NIL budget in all of college football. They paid $35 million this year. Did Texas Tech? They had a billionaire alum come in and just said, "Open checkbook, here you go." And they put together a pretty good football team. Now, they got to the round of 8. They got to the quarterfinals. They played Oregon. Oregon had to play in the first round. They had a home game, and then they met in the Orange Bowl, and then they shut out Texas Tech. And Texas Tech had one of the best offenses in all of college football. Their offensive coordinator played quarterback at North Allegheny, won a state title back in 2011 or 2012 it was. So the top programs are spending $30 to $35 to $40 million a year. Ohio State, right? Oregon, Texas Tech. I don't know what Pitt's NIL was this year, but I can't imagine it was more than 10 million. I'm trying to look that up right now. I don't know what they spent. They spent $20 million, apparently, for Pitt Athletics. They're adopting a new revenue sharing model this year. Apparently, they're going to spend about $20 million. But that's for all the programs, right? And you would imagine that most of that is going to go to the football program. But that just goes to show you. Let's just say the football program was $10 million. Of that 20, right? And then let's say it was 12 million. Let's say it was 13 million. There's still $20 million plus behind, $20 plus million behind the other top programs that made it into the college football playoff. What are they paying quarterbacks? Great question. Quarterbacks are commanding upwards of $5-6 million a year, which is why you see a lot of these kids wanting to go back for another season, 5th season, 6th season. The kid at Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss, he's trying to fight to get a 6th year of eligibility in college football. The NCAA said no, and then a judge, a circuit judge somewhere in Oxford said, nope, that's getting nixed. So right now he is looking at a 6th year playing in Oxford and could command up to $5 million. Why go to the NFL and make a lot less on a rookie deal? Unless you're the top quarterbacks taken in the first round, in the top end of the round. Keep in mind, Steve, and I appreciate your participation this evening. Keep in mind, it's a tiered system in the NFL. The NFL dictates how much rookies make based on where they're drafted in each round. It's fixed that way. It's a cap. It's a fixed cap, essentially, for rookies in the NFL. Every team knows what their cap is based on where their draft picks are at. It's a formula that they've created. So unless you're going in the first round, within the first 5 or 10 picks, you can anticipate making a lot less money if you are eligible to stay in as a quarterback in college athletics. If you're a top flight quarterback at the college level and you can manage to get a 5th year of eligibility or a 6th year of eligibility, and you're not projected to be a first round pick, why wouldn't you try to fight and stay in college a couple more seasons? You're going to make more money. The system is completely broken. It's a complete and total hot mess right now. I don't know if anybody's going to be paying you $4 or $5 million a year, Trailer Guide Steve. Maybe being an ATV guide. I don't know. That I hear that's a lucrative business, being like an all-terrain guide. Those things are supposed to be kind of fun. All right. I appreciate all of you that have been hanging out on the stream this evening. I'm going to continue to keep going here for the next 20 minutes or so. We'll probably wrap up around 10 till this evening. It's not for anything. It's just that I've come to this stage in my life where I have been reassessing things, been really reassessing some things, and I'm going to continue to keep doing this. I've enjoyed the nightly banter of 20, 30 people showing up, maybe 100 people show up. We had a show where 700 people showed up. But I'm having a good time. And but there are days that try a man's soul. And this type of year is hard. It's definitely hard. As I said, when I was looking at topics for today, there was really nothing. That kind of just jumped out in terms of subject matter. And, I thought back to myself, years ago when I was doing this on a regular basis or even a semi-regular basis, these were always the tough times during the course of a year. Trying to schedule guests, obviously important and nice. By the way, next week on Monday from Bradenton, John Parado, who has covered Major League Baseball for 35 years here in the Pittsburgh market. John has worked for Associated Press and other print institutions over the decades. John's going to be joining us live from Bradenton next week. I don't know if there's anybody who knows more about the Pirates or baseball in Western Pennsylvania than John Parado. And that includes the guys that call the Pirates, and that maybe even Greg Brown. I don't know. I bet if you put Greg Brown and John Parado at a table, they might go to infinity battling it out as to who has more knowledge about the Pirates. That would be an epic. I would pay good money to watch that debate or some sort of like trivia thing between those two. I don't know if either would get a question wrong. We might bug Greg Brown to do a hit from Florida at some point in time as well. We'll see what the schedule holds for him. But John Parado, I talked to him today. I hadn't talked to him in years. Had his number in my phone. I gave him a call. And he was like, hey, I'll come on next Monday. So I'm hoping to have Tony Bruno on tomorrow, but I have not heard from his secretary. That may be next week as well. Again, I just don't want to go completely Steelers all the time. I know we started off just talking Steelers. Of course, we were doing a Steelers pregame show. And when I put this show together in December, obviously the Steelers were the topic for pretty much the whole time. The 2 nights a week, now 3 nights a week that we do this. But we're trying to dive into some other subjects. And I kind of teased, talking about Epstein and some things. Obviously, I'm not going to be talking about that today, but I just thought it would, as I was sifting through, and sift is a term I only use because I have no other term. It was more like a leaflet, a leaflet of topics for this time of year. There's no audio or video for me to play. I obviously I played the Robert Duvall stuff from Apocalypse Now early at the beginning of the show. If you're just tuning in, a little homage to Robert Duvall, who passed away last night. And of course, the clip where he says, Charlie, don't surf, because the character Colonel Kilgore was a big surfing guy. Right. And so, but, when you're at this time of year, you're trying to find subjects, anything as it is to talk about. I'll be writing a story here for the Tribune Review soon about a local guy who is a massive YouTuber. He has a giant Facebook page. If you're into motorcycles, go check out Cycle Drag. You can check out Cycle Drag on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Jack Corpella, who is a Gateway graduate, used to work for WWE, University of Florida graduate as well. Jack has a very popular social media site. All of his social media channels, over 2 million followers on his Facebook page, 750,000, I believe it is, on YouTube. His Instagram and his TikTok are massive. He's got over 3 million followers on social media. I'll be writing a feature about Jack Corpella soon for the Trib. And I'm happy to say that I will be heading down to Charleston, South Carolina. I have not been to Charleston since I moved back. Hi there, Sophie. My daughter's walking in. How you doing today, baby? Good day today? Okay, good. So I'm heading down to Charleston on March 7th to cover the Riverhounds season opener. So we'll be covering that in Charleston in a couple of weeks. So it's nice to have the writing assignment of the Riverhounds back. It's pretty crazy how quickly things turned. I mean, they won the USL championship a week before Thanksgiving, and then about a month later, Bob Lilly was let go. Rob Vincent takes over as head coach, and they started practice in late January. You know, they're into their third week of preseason practices, and they've been playing exhibition games. I know they played Richmond in a preseason game. I think they played Duquesne as well. They played Loudoun United. As my wife's walking in, say hello to my wife, everybody. How you doing, dear? She always wants to jump on the podcast and give her opinion about things that aren't related to sports, mostly about how much divorce being the first thing. Divorce and how we ended up here. 15 years together. Oh, geez. Yeah, 15 years? Oh, boy, 15 years. Feel bad for my wife. So, but so I'm glad that the writing stuff is starting to pick back up for me. And again, I'm excited to be able to have another year under my belt writing for the Trib, covering the Riverhounds. So I was working on that today, trying to get a few assignments together because the season's at hand. March 7th is not that far away. In fact, come Saturday, it'll be two weekends away from the start of the regular season, which is crazy. Crazy to even think that. But, that's the way the clock just keeps on ticking. Time keeps on slipping right into the future, as somebody once said. Pittsburgh Sports Tonight rolling on. John Phillips here. Thanks for joining us. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would ask you to please do so. If you're on X or one of our other social media sites watching us, go check out our YouTube channel. We try to update it daily with content. You'll find articles on Facebook, and I'm starting to write articles on X. So there's content there. We post everything on Instagram and TikTok as well. And by the way, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that we are a part of the It's a Wrap Sports Network. It's a Wrap Sports' primary function to talk about Philadelphia, the Eagles, the Flyers, the Phillies, the 76ers. They talk about the Philadelphia Union, the soccer team. They do a Penn State football show in the fall. It's a Wrap Sports, Maddie B. I wanted to let you know that you can go check them out on all the social media sites as well. Maddie B's network. He has a nightly show Sunday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can check out The Final Word with Maddie B, but they also have some other programs that you might want to peek at as well. Philly Friday Frenzy with Al Zafari. He also does a Sunday morning show that I have been on before with Mike Loro. It's called Philly AM Sports. That's Sundays at 9 a.m. That's all part of the It's a Wrap Sports Network, which we are happy to be a part of. Just a few more minutes on the broadcast this evening. Probably take this till about 10 till, so about 10 more minutes or so. And then we will get things wrapped up here for the evening. I would also be wrong if I didn't point out that in addition to my shows, right, on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock locally, we have the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. That's hosted by Bill Akins. Bill, of course, a part of our Steel City Sunday show. There's Bill right there on the right-hand side. He hosts two shows at 8 o'clock Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday nights, the Sports Desk. And that's kind of like a panel of guests. And then the Gridiron Weekly show on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. They talk about basically football, hence the pigskin that you see right there. Looks like we've got a comment out there, and I think it's Trail Guide Steve. I have a new show coming out. Okay, Trailer Guide Steve, what kind of show is it? We want to know. We want to find it. Tell us what it is. I'll share it with the audience. Trailer Guide Steve checking in this evening. I believe he is somewhere up in that Newcastle, Eastern Ohio area. But we want to hear about the new show. Excitement for that. I'm excited to hear. Always anything new or anything adventurous that people are trying to do. It's the creativity bug has struck some of us in our lifetimes, and we just want to keep doing things. And some of my friends, a couple of my coworkers are like, why is he do? They were talking to somebody at work, and word got back to me like, they can't believe that you do these sorts of things. Well, yeah, I do. Even at 56, I find a challenge in some of this kind of stuff. I wanted to put this back out there. I share the story that, years ago when I was at the Fan, I was told to do this. I was told, hey, you don't like what they're doing to you here? Go get on YouTube. Just start a channel and just start talking. And, it'll happen. It will happen if you just keep doing something through attrition and you have a plan in place. You can get somewhere with something like this. And I expect that will happen here over the course of time. Rome wasn't built in a day. It certainly wasn't built in a day. I am excited a little bit more about baseball season. I had a chance to look at a little bit more video from Bradenton today. All of the players are now in camp. They are getting prepared to start the season. The exhibition season, I believe, is Friday. I think there's a couple games on Thursday, but the exhibition season for Major League Baseball is about to begin. And that's on Friday. There's 5 games scheduled. And then on Saturday, the Pirates open up exhibition play at Baltimore, which I believe is in Winter Haven. I may be wrong. I believe it's in Winter Haven. It is in Sarasota. I take that back. Saturday at 1:05, the Pirates begin their exhibition season in Sarasota against the Orioles. Now, I talked about Connor Griffin yesterday, and I obviously Paul Skeens and that conversation took a portion of the day up yesterday on the hour that we were on the air. Connor Griffin, what upsets me more than anything is the fact that this kid should probably be your opening day starter at shortstop. He's 19 years old. He's going to start the season at Double-A. And I have a piece of video that I want to run here in just a moment. I've been saving this for the back end of the show. I wanted to talk Pirates of the back end here. Steve says, keep working it. The Pirates, stop it. Well, let me just tell you something, Steve. And for those of you that are hanging out right now, the Pirates have some people excited. The Pirates have some people excited. And I'm not just talking like, hey, some of these players that they have are somewhat exciting. The fact of the matter is that on MLB Live today, you had a couple of pundits, talking heads, as we call them in the business, discussing the Pirates. I want to play this here. This comes from an X page. C Wolf PGH. He had this on his X page regarding a comment or two about their upcoming year and what some of these talking heads are thinking the Pirates can do. Jeez. Okay, so I'll tell you, I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. Bottom line is, a couple of these guys on MLB TV said that they believe the Pirates are going to be postseason contenders this year. It's a wrap. I believe Maddie B sneaking in here with a comment. Weren't the Pirates in danger of being taxed by MLB for having too low a team salary?
Hold on, baby, I'm coming.
Yes, they were. They're going to spend about $102 million. Right now, they're projected to spend about $102 million this year, and that's part of what I was talking about yesterday. We're going to see a lockout by the end of the season. Once this season is complete, there will be a lockout, and because a salary cap, a floor and a ceiling have to be established. But more or less a salary cap of some kind. The Pirates have been notoriously bad at not spending money, Matty B. And that's been the rub that people have had for Bob Nutting, who is the owner of the Pirates. He's kept the payroll low, and again, when you get a once in a lifetime guy like Paul Skeens and this Connor Griffin that they have, they will drag out how they bring guys like that up because they want to have complete and total control for as long as they can before they can get to free agency. They want to maximize as much as they can out of the top talent. I would think Griffin is going to have an explosive camp. We'll see how much he plays and how much he faces major league pitching, right? If this kid is the real deal and he's a 5-tool guy, Fangraphs said he is maybe the best athlete they've ever covered at this level of baseball in their history. Fangraphs said that recently. There's no reason why he shouldn't be starting on opening day for the Pirates at shortstop. A team that really lacked punch in their lineup. That was their biggest problem last year, especially when Skeens and Keller would pitch. They couldn't provide any run support for these poor guys. Just no run support for, a Cy Young winner. I mean, he literally had to do it all, right? You're asking a guy to go out and pitch 7-8 innings nightly, not give up any runs, right? One or no runs, and you're not even providing him a single run in terms of support. A guy like Connor Griffin could be that difference maker. O'Neal Cruz, what kind of year we're going to get out of him? Obviously, a couple of free agent signings. They added about 40, 45 home runs to the till during the offseason. So the Pirates did go out and spend some money. All right. They did go out and spend some money this past year, which was, a change of pace from what they have had in the past when they weren't spending any money at all. That was, obviously quite a concern for fans, right? What are the Pirates going to spend? No money. They're not spending any money. And what did they do? They went out this year and they made a little bit of noise by going out and, as I mentioned yesterday, Marcell Ozuna wrapped up his contract, 1-year contract with a multi-year option for 27. They added Ryan O'Hearn, who I think had, 21 or 22 home runs last year. This was not a team that hit the ball well at all last year. So, we're excited for Connor Griffin. The concern is, when do they bring him up? And it's a rap saying Griffin is an exciting player and he is ahead of expectations. Biggest issue with him is, can he remain a hitter and not become a slugger? Not disagreeing with you, right? And again, what was the principle of Moneyball? Guys that can get on base. Guys that can get on base can turn into runs, right? The Pirates were not producing guys that could even just get on base. Getting on base is half the battle. If you can get on base, you can be moved over. You can steal a base, you can be moved over, right? They just didn't produce runs last year. They were just at a minimum, generally speaking, and it was very frustrating. And he is 19. He's never played above AA. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't anticipate him starting for the Pirates, but he might. I say this in the sense that, what else do they have? What else do they have? Griffin will start the year in AA, 100%. 100%. He's not going to come up and get to the major league level until the MLB clock for him to be extended in terms of his, his future free agency, it makes sense in terms of the MLB rules. That's how that's going to play out, because that's how it plays out for all the top talent that has come through Pittsburgh the last 25 years. Pedro Alvarez, right, was just like that. They didn't bring him along. Garrett Cole, when they had him. Andrew McCutchen, same way, right? Those guys were brought along over the course of time based on the rules that allowed the host team, the Pirates, to keep them as long as possible until they became free agents. I don't have any delusions of grandeur that he is going to be. I don't have any delusions of grandeur that he's going to start at shortstop this year. And sadly, Maddie, you're right. He's going to be part of a blockbuster trade, probably, and I don't know if it'll be 2028. I would think if Skeens eventually is traded, and that's believably real, as crazy as that sounds, I don't, and again, I have to go and take a peek at this. When does Paul Skeens become a free agent? I think it's 2031. Oh, it's 2029. Thank you. 2029. So they control him until 2029. So, in 2028, 100%. Now I see why you picked that particular date. It makes complete and total sense. If the Pirates are going to, because they're never going to sign the guy, right? They're never going to keep him past 2029. You make a move to trade him in 2028 for sure, by the trade deadline. But even when the Pirates have made trades in the past, okay, when they have made trades in the past, they haven't gotten a yield. And I think that was partly by design, because they didn't want to spend money. That's the part that really irks the nerve of people like myself who have been lifelong baseball fans of this team. They just don't want to spend money at the end of the day. Lance 33 is out in the Mon Valley this evening. Always good to catch my show. Thank you, Lance. It's always nice to hear from people in the great Mon Valley of Western Pennsylvania. It is a frustrating ticket here, right? It is a frustrating ticket to be a Pirates fan. It is a struggle, because ownership knows that if they were to spend, and Maddie, you mentioned, the tax for not spending money on, I am rocking the Greg Norman gear. My wife got that for me years ago. It's one of my favorite shirts. I had an 84 Lumber shirt pullover for years, but I lost that somewhere. I've moved so many times in the last 7 years. I've lost some things, but I like the Norman attire. He was a hell of a golfer. They've been in this weird position for decades now where, okay, hey, we're going to build a stadium for you guys and you're going to be competitive. Okay. And yeah, it's a shame, because PNC is definitely a top three. I like the park out. I don't know if you've been out to Oracle out in San Francisco. Incredible park. I've been to almost every Major League Baseball park. There's only a handful that I haven't been to. I think it's like 4 or 5 now. Chavez Ravine is another one. I don't care how old Dodger Stadium is. If you ever get a chance to go to a game in LA, please do yourself a favor. Go and see a game in Chavez Ravine. The San Gabriel Mountains are absolutely gorgeous. It's such a beautiful park. Just make sure you don't wear any opposing team's gear, because you'll probably get knifed. You might get knifed anyhow. Wear Dodger blue if you're going to go. That's probably the best. It's almost like going to Philadelphia for a game. It's upstairs somewhere. I have not touched it. Thank you. Wrapping up the show here in a few moments. I'm going to be pulled upstairs here in a few seconds. Long story short, Skeens is going to get traded by 2028 before the end of the season. I think he goes by the trade deadline. I don't think they'll keep him for 2029. And Connor Griffin will end up being the same way, unless they can put a winner together. If they can put a winner together of some kind, and as I mentioned yesterday, if they just get a little bit more run production, right? If they increase their run production by, say, 3/4 of a run, they might win 88 games this year. that could be enough to contend. Like the NL Central was competitive last year in the sense that nobody was really running away with things. So 88 wins, and again, 7 teams in each division get into the postseason. It used to be just 2. Now you got 7 teams that get in. You win 88 games, you get to 90 games, depending on where you're at division-wise, you have a shot at postseason baseball. And that the city would come unglued. For 3 years, it was amazing here. Even the lead up to 2013, the 2011 season, the 2012 season, where they were competing into the summer, into the All-Star break before they fell apart, it was exciting, right? 2013 was just completely unreal. Hey, thanks to everybody who participated in the show this evening. You know, I used to do 4 hours on the air and it would blow by like nothing. I do an hour a night now, and I think to myself, I'll be talking to myself primarily if I don't have a guest scheduled. It's nice to get folks to come into the chat and leave comments. I appreciate all of your support this evening and just your message. I hope you enjoyed the program tonight. Tomorrow, back at it again, 7 o'clock. Hope to have a guest for 7:30. I don't know just yet. We'll find out. We'll have some other topics. We'll find some things to discuss. It's always enjoyable to be able to talk to you fine folks. Okay, so until we speak tomorrow, I'm John Phillips. Have yourself a great Tuesday evening. This has been Pittsburgh Sports Tonight on the It's a Wrap Sports Network.